302. You know, walled city versus an open city. When do you read the Megillah? Okay, what's the Mechaber? Krochim and Bukov and Chom Benun. Cities which are walled and enclosed with a wall. From the time of Yeshua ben Nun, the wall stood at the time of Yeshua ben Nun. Even though the wall no longer stands today, the wall was destroyed. They read the Megillah on the 15th. This is not limited to Eretz Yisrael, even outside of Eretz Yisrael. Even if there are no 10 batlonim, so the Gemara explains that the Mishnah discusses you have krochim and you have kforim. A krach is a large city, a kfar is a village. Now, the Gemara says that a large city reads it on the 14th, a walled city reads it on the 15th. Okay? What about a village? Villages are magdimim liyom haknisa. Right? It could be the 11th, 12th, 13th. It has no relevance today. But at one time, it depends on certain things. They would actually, if the market day, Monday or Thursday, was even as early as the 11th, they would come into the large city and they would read the Megillah on the 11th. And they were Yotze. Okay? Now, what determines if something's a large city or a small or a village? Right? So the Gemara says that if you have Asura Batlonim, if you have 10 people who are always available to guarantee there's a minyan, the community pays 10 people always to be available for a minyan, always in shul. 3 times a day you're guaranteed a minyan. And the community provides the salary, the wage, the fee to pay these people to guarantee this minyan. That's called a krach. That's a large city. A city which the minyan is not guaranteed, that's called a village. You hear this? You can have 10 million people in the city. If you're not assured you have a minyan 3 times a day, that's called a hick town. But if you have a small little village like Radin, where the streets weren't even paved, and it's guaranteed 3 times a day you have a minyan, that's called a krach. You read it on the 14th, not on the earlier days, okay? So that's what he says. So what about if you have a walled city, and you're not guaranteed you have a minyan always, right? What day do you read it? Maybe that also takes on the status of a village. No. If it's a walled city is always considered a walled city. It always reads it on the 15th, a walled city.
Even if there is not a minyan.
The halach is even if you're permitted to read the Megillah even on the 14th without a minyan. We're talking about classification of location.
The Shushan's an exception.
Yeah, but that's not related to what we just discussed.
I mean, it's a walled city.
It's a walled city. That's because the Gemara says because the miracle happened there. That's the exception. That's what the Gemara says, and it's an argument. The Gemara. One opinion is that the wall only has to stand from the time of Achashverosh, as you see Shushan. The Gemara says no, there's a difference. There, the miracle happened there. That's why that's the exception. But every wall has to be from the time of Yeshua ben Nun. No. Because the fact is, we don't want to burden them. They're illiterate. They can't read it themselves. Well, no. Okay. We'll see the Mishna Berura. Okay. Pirish. What is Asur Batlonim? Betelim shmimachton v'oskim tzorchei tzibor. People there, they have no responsibility to work, but what is their responsibility? They're involved in communal needs, and they're paid for this. V'ushehukach v'akach yoshev. Okay? Oshiyoshev tchila das lakif v'akach. It was walled and then it was settled, or it was settled initially where they had in mind that they were going to enclose it with a wall. Lafuk shenoda sheyovo sheyoshev tchilo al dashlo lakifo. What about initially it was a city that they settled there? Initially they weren't going to put a wall. So when it was settled and ready to, was identified as a city without a wall, then they decided to put a wall up afterwards. That's not considered a walled city, even though the wall stood at the time of Yeshua ben Nun. Factually, how do we know this? Do we know so specifically how it happened? Aval bistoma, but he says, but we could assume hukval b'sof Yoshua, that every city, if it's a walled city, going back that far back, because what was the value of a wall? It was really for protection. So therefore, if they put a wall, that was the original intent. It needed a wall. So when it was settled, even though initially it didn't have a wall, when they settled, it was in mind to build a wall eventually. Let's see the Mishna Berura. Hamukofu chom b'shusha benun. Ki bizman Mordechai beis hanes ksiv. Sheyehudim chol mokem nilchemu b'yom Yud Gimel. Right? The 13th was called Yom Kilo. That's when they gathered. That's the day of war. V'nochav Yom Yudalit. When did they rest? When did they have the respite from war? That was on the 14th. V'osos of Mishna Simcha. That's the day of celebration. U'b'shushan nitel Yudim li'lochim ha'akom gam Yom Yudalit. Right? That's the story. Esther asked Achashverosh to destroy Amalek for another day. So in Shushan, the Jews were permitted to kill Amalek for another day. So for the 14th, they were still battling in Shushan. Lo osi Yom Tov HaTesvav. So when were they able to celebrate? On the 15th. Became Shabbos Zman Nechlu Shnei Yomim. So in the time of the miracle, there were 2 days of celebration. There were the open cities and there was Shushan. When Mordechai and Esther, with the consensus of the men of the High Assembly, when they established we should celebrate Purim to commemorate it, Purim Lidoros, we should set Purim to be celebrated for all generations. Says then the celebration was on 2 days, the 14th and 15th. So therefore, for the future also, each type of city celebrates differently. So he's asking the question. So if that's the case, Shushan, when did they celebrate? On the 15th. So if that's the case, every city which is similar to Shushan celebrated on the 15th. So what it should have been that the city, although the wall doesn't go back as far back as Yeshua, they should read the Megillah on the 15th. However, this is the Yerushalmi brings. Eretz Yisrael was lying in ruins. It was destroyed after the Churban Bayis. For 7 years it was in ruins. So we're giving greater value to the cities in Chutz Loretz than to Eretz Yisrael, than the cities that already were established as cities, time of Yeshua ben Nun. Even the Ram brings it differently. Therefore, for the sake of Kavod Eretz Yisrael, Shkol Irshi Mukeves Yeshua, Yikru B'Tezvav Al Pi Shem Kovas Achos. Although the walls were destroyed, their ruins, nevertheless, Vashar B'Yudalit Levad Mishushan. Shushan's the exception, as we said, because Shushan, the miracle actually transpired there. Al Pi Shem Mukeves Yeshua Benun V'Korim Tezvav Meishabo Nasa Nes, because the miracle took place in Shushan itself. There's a famous story, and that with Lag BaOmer. There was an earthquake in Tzfas in the 1800s, where almost every structure in Tzfas, every structure, I think, was destroyed during that earthquake, and most people were killed. Most people were killed. So Chassam Sofer wrote a letter afterwards, and he explained why it happened. Tzfas was known as Ira Mukubodim, city of the Kabbalists, and Yerushalayim had very few people in it in the 1800s. People valued Tzfas more than Yerushalayim. He says the reason why Hashem brought an earthquake was since Yerushalayim was disgraced, because Yerushalayim is the city, is the holy city, and should have been valued more than anywhere else, and people valued Tzfas more than Yerushalayim. So therefore, there was a decree in Hashemayim that Tzfas should be destroyed. That's what the Chassam Sofer wrote, and that caused the earthquake. Okay, so we're talking about Kavod Eretz Yisrael. So could you imagine valuing other cities more than Eretz Yisrael? Eretz Yisrael lies in ruins, and what do you give special acclaim and distinction to? Achashverosh, from the time of Achashverosh, not from the time of Yeshua ben Nun, was the time of the first conquest. That's when Kedusha Eretz Yisrael, he sanctified the whole land. Right? That was Kedusha Oretz. Okay? No. We celebrate Hanukkah. We celebrate the military victory. They used slingshots with military victory. But why did they have a military victory? Any time. that we destroyed Amalek. No, it's celebrating. We celebrate after the war was over. They fought on the 14th. So when were they able to celebrate? No, the 13th and 14th. Everybody fought on the 13th. They killed Amalek. Shushan had an additional day they were able to kill Amalek on the 14th. So when were they able to celebrate? On the 15th. Because they were engaged in war on the 14th. Of what? Destruction of we were going to be annihilated of Amalek. So it's not the military victory. The emphasis is not the military victory. It's the destruction of Amalek. Well, of course it was. We couldn't have killed Amalek unless Achshverosh gave us permission to kill them. Right? They were ready to kill us. Right? We read in the Megillah of Napachu. The last moment there was a change of events. Right? We dominated them. They didn't dominate us. Well, our salvation came about that we were able to destroy our enemies and continue. Ernie's always splitting hairs. When you got so few, you split them. Okay. What, you don't think you think they just want the sheep to slaughter the Amalekim?
No, but they knew that they were.
Okay. Okay.
There was no support from the government. It's more complicated than anything else as far as days and translate days.
Why is it complicated? No, there's no 13th. The 14th and 15th. They don't celebrate. No. Reading, that's reading Megillah. Celebration. Everybody celebrates on the villages celebrate on the 14th. On 14th, it's only reading Megillah. What happens if the villager read on the 13th, and he happened to be in a large city on the 14th? He has to read again. He's not Yotzei. It's only if he's stuck in the village and he read it on the earlier day, then he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to come in on the 14th. But if he's in the large city on the 14th, he has to reread the Megillah. It's only what we call a b'diavad. Yeah, sure. No, well, the Chassam Sofer passed away 1839. So it was the beginning of the early, maybe in the 1820s, or maybe 1834, I think it was. 1832. That's what it was. Okay. Yeah, they know where their cities are. Yes. 2 days. 2 days. Yeah, sure. Tveria keeps 2 days. Okay. Just let's see the Mishna Berura. Only had three walls. 3 walls. The sea was the back. It's a suffix. It's a suffix mukaf choma. If it's a wall, definitely a walled city, it's the 15th. I mean, the Ran says, let's say you have a suffix. Right? How do you know? Maybe it was a walled city. The answer is, Ran says you go after Rove. The vast majority of cities in the world didn't have walls. Time Yeshua ben Nun. So you can assume with certainty, right? But Tveria, we know had a wall. Had 3 walls. That had the 4th wall was the sea. The question is that called a walled city? It's not a walled city. Okay, that's what we'll get to it now. Afil ein behem. Yesh mishum shecholkim al zeh usfir le dekrach mukav chomo. Em ein bo ato asur batlon ukorim bo biyudal. This is machlokus. Just as we say regarding a large city, to assume the status of a large city, it has to have 10 batlonim. Some Rishonim hold what the Mechaber is Shitas Tosus. No. Okay. So Tosus Shita is the Mechaber, Tosus position. That a walled city is a walled city regardless whether you have, if you live in a walled city, regardless whether you have guaranteed a minyan or not, you read it always on the 15th. Besides, there are other Rishonim saying, no, just as in regard to a krach, it's only a large city if you have guaranteed a minyan. Same thing is true regarding a walled city. Yarafrai mitzad yishlochush l'shitosom likros gam yudalit. Even though the Mechaber doesn't say that, the Yad Ephraim says that you should take them into consideration. So if you live in a walled city where you don't have a minyan, you should read it on the 14th also. Okay? So therefore, let's say Tveria reads on the 14th because it's a suffix. But in the 1800s or the 1700s, many of these communities didn't even have a minyan. You weren't guaranteed a minyan. So, what would you do? So, according to the Yad Ephraim, you should read it on the 14th, even if it's not a suffix. Yad Ephraim is the Shar Ephraim. He lived there. His name was Ephraim Zalman Margolis. Okay. What is a batlonim? Oskim tzarchi tzibur pirsh beis hakneses. Ken isa behedjo b'gmora ein shom pirsh Rashi. Shem kfuin tomid lahashkim lahar beis hakneses l'spalio. They're always there early and late, always to guarantee that there's a minyan. And they're paid by the community. Ein pirsh Mishna Berura Purim afuki shenoda. The presumption is any walled city, the wall initially when the city was settled was to build a wall. That's the intent. Even though initially they didn't necessarily put up the wall, when they settled the city, it was in mind to eventually to put up the wall. Okay? Yes. The miracle. That's right. What are we celebrating? Our salvation. What's the salvation? How did the salvation come? Was Hashem allowed us to destroy our enemies?
Salvation came because we were able to, because of Hashem, Esther, and Mordechai.
Exactly, because Hashem.
So that was the focus, and then
So what are we celebrating? Our existence. Our existence. Why? What? Because we survived. Because Hashem provided a miracle for us that we should be there on the 14th and 15th to celebrate. Otherwise, we couldn't have. We would have been killed.
No, what I was saying is because we defeated on the 14th and 15th, not because of Esther.
Why else are you celebrating? You're celebrating your existence. What do you have to celebrate your existence?
We're going to want us to say we're celebrating for the 14th. Why we have to say we celebrate our existence because it's what happened to the people, and everybody defeated whatever they defeated.
But they couldn't focus on that. They were still fighting. Time of in Shushan, they couldn't focus on that. So when did they?
Celebrate only after they stopped fighting.
Exactly.
So that's what we celebrate.
No, that's what the walled city celebrates, right? To commemorate that additional day. Otherwise, how do you commemorate Shushan?